everyone, and welcome to this video, Sans Frontier video. We're back with the Packard Bell, and in this video we're going to be actually installing Windows Vista, of all things. Now, this machine I actually got from, as part of the bundle of stuff that I got last week. I've actually managed to get this one going. In my previous video, I actually debanned it, so booted and nuked it, basically erased the hard drive. And in this video, we're going to do something a wee bit more regular for this channel. We're actually going to install Windows Vista on it. Normally, I would go for installing Windows 7, especially given the machine's specs. However, this comes with a Windows Vista COA, and I don't have any spares for Windows 7. So, I just, kind of err on the side of caution, and yeah, just go for something that is legit. This machine came to me with a not entirely legitimate install of Windows 7 on it, but that's now gone. Unfortunately, also, the recovery partition, this machine had one, but it's also gone. I couldn't boot to it, and I couldn't get to it from within Windows. I couldn't find, the e-recovery manager had been installed, and I was unable to actually activate recovery from boot up. So I'm just going to install it from a regular Windows Vista DVD and try and find all the drivers. Now, specs of this machine. Has an AMD Athlon 64-3800 through 2.4 GHz. Sadly, I believe it's a single core, and it's got a gig of RAM. I believe my sister actually had a system very similar to this, if not this particular one. In fact, it might have been this particular one. Not sure if she had the 3400 or the 3800. But I remember she had a system very similar to this, and I remember when she got it, I was chatting to her on the phone about Packard Bell place. Because, I think it had been about a month and a half previously that I'd went on and built my 2007 custom build, which also ran Windows Vista at the time. Of course, I upgraded to Windows 7 when it came out. I got it pre-ordered, and I remember staying up until the wee hours of I think it was October the 23rd when it came out to download it. Anyway, back to Vista. So what we're going to do, I've loaded up, I've booted from the Windows Vista DVD, selected my system locale, set it to United Kingdom, and now we've got this screen, Windows Vista. Install now. That's what we're going to do. There's other options here. What to know before installing Windows. And repair your computer. Now, this what to know before installing Windows, it's, instructions on how to actually go about upgrading or making a clean install. If you're not sure what to do, give these a read. But if you're ready to proceed, just click Install Now. What will happen is Windows Vista setup will load, which is very nice of it. Personally, there we go. And then accept the license agreement. And we're going to go for a custom install. We can't upgrade because the hard disk is completely blank. What I can do is just click Next to actually have the hard disk write one big partition. See, now I don't know which version of Windows this is going to install. See, now the Windows Vista DVDs that I've had generally have asked for the product key and then let me decide which version of Windows Vista it's going to install from there. So as really as anyone's guess, and you know, could be that I actually have to go and try and track down a Vista DVD of the correct version. You know, see if I can even find my old ones, you know. This is ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping to install Home Premium, because that's what I've got the product key for. So, personally, you know, if I was choosing a version of Windows, I would probably not choose Vista. However, having said that, Vista does bring back a lot of memories. You know, my first year at university, I mean, I got it when it came out. In fact, I got it a couple of weeks before it came out. It was made available on the Elms student service for download. It was a Microsoft thing. You could download like different bits of software. Apart from Office, you could download like Windows 2000 XP, Windows 2000, Windows XP, Windows Server 2003, and Windows Vista. I think later you could get Windows Server 2008, which was, of course, based on Vista. The original release, R2, was based on Windows 7, I do believe. I think it was, anyway. I'm starting to think, was there not a Windows Server 2010 as well? I can't even mind. I honestly, my memory right now is terrible. But I believe Server 2008 R2 was based upon Windows 7. But yeah, I mean, I had Vista when it came out, and I had the 2006 custom built at the time, and that was an AMD Athlon 64-3200, the Venice chip. The processor itself could have been fine for running Vista, but the amounts of RAM that I had at the time, 768 megabytes, hang on, no, I'd upgraded at the time to 1.25 gigs, still wasn't necessarily enough, so I upgraded to, I threw in another 512 stick to upgrade it to 1.75 gigabytes, which seems to be an odd number. But started off with 256 megs that I pulled from the 2004 custom built, and a 512 stick that I'd upgraded it with to 768 megs. I'd upgraded it to 1.25 gigs by adding another 512 stick, and then shortly before the machine died, I'd upgraded it again with another 512 stick. But the system itself, the motherboard, I can't remember whether A-Bit went out of business at the time, or whether they just wanted to only honour their latest and greatest boards with Vista drivers. And that really annoyed me. Because it was an A-Bit board, but like I said, I mean, the board itself kind of died in May 2007, well, in April 2007 actually, leaving me with no option but to have to build the 2007 custom built. I'm just trying to think what else. Graphics card at the time, ATI Radeon 9250i, I believe, not that good. It was fine in XP. I remember it was hailed as the best budget card that you could buy, but that's a problem. Budget card. It was my first AGP card as well, actually, because I've been using an NVIDIA GeForce MX440 with the 2001 custom built, which was a PCI card, and I used that from Christmas 2003 when I got it, and then I put it in the 2004 custom built as well. I mean, that was fine. I used that, but then I upgraded in 2006 to the ATI Radeon 9250. It was a fine card, you know, like I said in XP. It, kind of made my games run a bit better. I mean, knows that I was playing. But at the end of the day, the card was a bit of a slouch. Probably that's why it was a budget card. So I upgraded to an NVIDIA GeForce FX 5200. I believe that card is now my Dell Dimension 3600. That was a good card. That supports Aero, believe it or not. Okay, it's a wee bit jittery, like but still supported it. What else? So yeah, I mean, that was the 2006 custom belt. I had a cheap-ass dial-up modem and a TV tuner card, Pinnacle PCTV 100. Again, found its way in there. Didn't work with Windows Vista, so I had to upgrade to a Hop Hodge HVR 900, which is actually connected to my media center machine now. And it's quite funny, actually. It's just, I mean, the number of things that I actually had to change, about my machine when I got Windows Vista. I mean, I just got a copy of ZoomText at the time, which is screen magnification software. And guess what? Not compatible with Vista. So I had this software about a month. Actually, a couple days shy of a month. About 3 days shy of a month. And it didn't work. So, I was, and ZoomText, AI Squared actually did bring out an update 3 months after Vista came out, and it was a paid-for update as well, so I was not happy. Luckily, I was able to get myself a copy from the university, but, no, I was not too happy about that. You can read in my old blog, actually, but, it's, I was not happy about that at all. So, Vista and I really didn't have a good start. It was a wee bit of a love-hate relationship. I mean, I liked it because I liked some of the features that it had. I like the photo gallery application. Brilliant for organising photographs. Fax and scan. I thought that was kind of a nice wee addition. And Windows Vista's Media Center, which I didn't really get to discover until later, was actually a lot better than XP's, believe it or not. Certainly XP Media Center would take a while between switching TV channels, but Windows Vista's Media Center, I mean, I upgraded to Ultimate. That's what I got for my Christmas back in 2007, was an anytime upgrade to Ultimate, because that's what I wanted. And that really did kind of help. Well, at the time I'd had the 2007 custom belt. But yeah, getting a Windows Media Center upgrade, absolutely fantastic. But really, I mean, Windows Vista, I mean, you were getting people that were buying machines, and then, about a year down the line, Vista came out, and it wasn't any good. Whereas XP at the time would run on most things, that came out in 2000. I mean, my 2006 custom belt was basically the equivalent of, putting Windows XP on this machine that was built in 2001. Don't know if it was a 2000 model, but no matter, this particular one was built in 2001. Now, when XP came out, that would have run absolutely fine and dandy on here. Not a problem. 866 megahertz Pentium 3, good graphics, good amount of memory. Can't even mind how much, actually, but it would have ran. Whereas Windows Vista on the 2006 custom build, it turned what was a middle of the road machine that I could play a few games on, it turned that into a very kind of basic machine. And I just was not happy with it. I mean, I could no longer play DVDs while working on something else, otherwise it would just completely lock up. It was terrible. But I mean, the thing is with Vista, they brought out a couple service packs which made things slightly better. And if you had the right hardware, you know, at least a dual or a quad core processor, 2 to 4 gigs of RAM, it would run okay. But Windows 7 came out, and, well, it just kind of flew along compared to Vista. So, you know, it was a bit of a shame. Because Vista, I really wanted to enjoy it, and I guess I did, but it's just one of those things. It was, like I said, it was a bit of a love-hate relationship, you know. Now, I find myself, if I'm working on people's machines, I've got Windows Vista. I mean, when I had my business, there was actually times when I wished that I could actually have charged users of Windows Vista, you know, a kind of a fee for having Vista, because, you know, the machines are just that, you know, the machines and the operating system, just that more difficult, recalcitrant, and extremely slow. Just, no, wasn't too keen at all on it. Bit of a shame, really. But hey, that's why Windows 7 came out and fixed a lot of things. But anyway, now that I've rambled on for long enough, I'm going to leave this installation to complete, and we'll come back once it's done so. Wow, this has taken quite some time. But then again, what do you expect with a computer that has a gig of RAM in it, of which about 256 megs is kind of taken up a wee bit by the onboard graphics. Just basically now got to try and get the installation completed right enough. That's fit its in. Okay, so now Windows Vista is coming in for another restart, and what was that all about? Something came up, bloody check disk Windows. That was just the word salad, but never mind. Yep, we have with us LML3 for this glorious install of Windows Vista. Look at our beautiful new operating system.
Why didn't you get a Cyrix to install that?
Oh yeah, the Cyrix Core i7. Yeah, those are the best sort. Cyrix. Okay, it's anybody's guess which version of Vista this is. So, type a username. I'm just going to type user PC. We're just going to go for the regular background. I think it's called Energy on Vista. Can you mind? And then Vista came out with, thank you! And now we have Windows Vista's billboards as it tries to scan the computer to see what's best for it. It has no idea. Please wait while we poorly optimize your system for something that might just barely scrape through.
Yeah. Well, if you want to be accurate, if you want to be accurate to the time period where people are upgrading, you should install on a Pentium 4 with like 512 megs of RAM and see how that goes.
Well, actually, this is an AMD Athlon 643800, 2.4 gigahertz with a gig of RAM, of which 256 megs has been nicked. But
that's basically what I was running Vista on. Well, I was running XP on that. I ran Vista on 2 games with it.
You want to know the funny thing? This is what the machine came with. We could find another stick of DDR2. It was a gig, you know, it might be. It could have like. I could go back to what my system was like.
Windows Windows 8, you're not wanted here.
Honestly, I mean, it's like, 10 years ago. I can't believe it was 10 years ago since I actually just, finally got to get my hands on a copy of Virtual PC. I was getting nostalgic about, like, all the 9X operating systems, 95. Wasn't too nostalgic about 98 just then, because I'd not so long ago been actually using it as a main OS, but... But seriously, I mean, I could see myself kind of getting nostalgic for, Vista now, because it's a similar amount of time has elapsed between, Windows 95 OSR2 and 2005 as has elapsed between Windows Vista and now. What I said made perfect sense in my mind. The power to find anything. With Windows Vista, you can quickly find programs, files, and email, and it's easier to search the internet. Yeah, I know, you could go to Google in Windows Vista too. I can't remember if that was... No, it was... I think Bing came out in 2009, was it?
Somewhere around there, I have no idea. Can't remember back that far somehow.
Because I remember when Vista came out, it was all Windows Live.
Yeah, Bing, I think, came out towards at least around 2010, some like a little bit before or a little bit after.
Yeah.
Has to be.
So I remember the cheap...
I didn't really use Bing, so I didn't...
No, I remember the jokes that were coming out. I remember trying to convince people to upgrade to Windows 7. I was living with someone who had an HP that ran Vista, and I was like, but you can get 7 for 32 quid and it'll run a lot better. And she's like, no, I'm fine with Vista. Connect, play, have fun. Yeah, I must admit, I mean, the Windows Vista games were pretty fun. I liked how they kind of rebooted the standard Windows games, kind of gave them wacky animations. And I like how in Solitaire, if you maximise the window, it makes your cards bigger. Yeah, I can actually blooming play it now. I thought you said you were good at this game. Got any 5s? Not a 1, sir. Go fish. Oh, yeah. Did I tell you I actually finished that game last night? I did actually manage to finish Spy Fox 2. No, not Spy Fox 2. I'm going to play that, I think, later tonight, if I feel like it. But that tango gets really stuck in your head.
Oh yeah, I used to get that stuck in my head all the time. I shouldn't sing that on camera, that sounds terrible.
Dun, 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 dun. See, I used to think it got faster when the card game got more intense. Aha! I think this... Pardon?
It's just part of the loop.
Yeah, I realise that now. But I thought it was like, it would get faster because it's like, I noticed it as I was getting more cards, and he was getting more cards. This is Vista Home Premium. How do I know? Windows that are slightly invisible. Oh my goodness, this is nostalgia.
Welcome back to 2006.
I know!
2007.
Oh my goodness! I mean, I remember this. I remember everyone was getting. Oh, it was just so exciting, and it's like, when you had a version of Windows Vista that actually worked.
I remember that. It worked on. Ironically, it worked perfectly on my MacBook Pro at the time.
AMD Athlon 64 processor, 3800 plus, 1 gig of RAM, NVIDIA GeForce 6100, NForce 405, Microsoft Corporation WDDM. Name user-PC. Wow. And it's really funny how it's actually registering as 1 gig of RAM on here, because it didn't on 7. It didn't on, yeah, it didn't on 7. Yeah. There you have it. Windows Vista.
Oh, yeah.
Let's have a look. Display settings. 1024 by 768. Let's up that resolution. Whoa. Settle down there, Dell monitor. Oh yeah. Now I suppose I best actually find a wireless card of sorts, and oh wait, look. Let it load. Let it oh wait. Ugh, never mind. Wait a minute. Yay, Parable Place!
Introduced with Windows Vista itself.
Yep. Oh wow, look at this. Right, well, I'm gonna go and find myself a USB wireless adapter and some drivers, plug it in, and see if I can get this thing activated, up and running, and updated and everything. And then that will be this machine ready to go on FreeCycle. Well, we're back. It is now 11:30. Actually, it's just the back of 11:30 of, on Sunday night. Sunday the 11th of January, is it? Yep, the 11th. And, well, I have Vista installed. And, wow, the nostalgia. Getting Vista up and running. Well, it was... I actually used the wrong version of Vista. I didn't realise that the desk that I had was an Ultimate desk, an Ultimate only desk. Should have known, so my Home Premium key didn't work, so I had to make myself up a Home Premium desk. I've done a video of me burning that. I've done a video of me burning an image of that. I just in case anyone's wondering about the legality of it, it's perfectly legal because I actually... Yeah, it is. AT&T DSL is crap, apparently, guys. Anyway, yeah, so I use the product key on the back of this system, so it's a completely legitimate copy of Vista. I've basically just done a basic install. I put Mozilla Firefox, and I've installed drivers for the graphics, the sound, and the TV tuner card that's in this system. So, the next step for this computer is for me to completely disconnect it and just kind of get my regular, well, just kind of disconnect it, get my regular system hooked back up here, and this is going on FreeCycle now that it's been completely debanned and now has a legitimate copy of Vista on it. I'm not going to install Service Pack 2. That will take quite a long time, and to be honest, I do actually have other work to do. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a USB wireless card, so I've actually had to use my D630 as a network server, so this is sharing the wireless connection. This is acting as a bridge, and is sharing the connection with this Packard Bell. So, I mean, I've got work to do on a couple of desktops, and I've got to deban my Inspiron 8200 as that's now sold, so I need to deban that and get that installed with Windows XP. And so I'm just going to let this shut down. It's got some updates to install, so I'll let it install those, and I will shut the machine down. Yeah. Thanks, Vista. Update 1 of 116. Thanks. Appreciate it. That always happens.
Don't you just love Windows Update?
Yeah, I remember once I was. It's worse when you're pulling into a train station. You shut your machine down, and it's like now installing updates. I'm like, I don't think so, because the train will sail right out of the station with me still on it.
My laptop likes to do that when I want to go to bed.
Yeah, tell me about it. This is ridiculous. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. We have Luke and Billy back with us. Guys, do you actually have any final comments before I shut this off about the Packard Bell?
Well, I have one thing to say. The WoW starts now.
Yeah. It's
I
like,
have
what?
one thing to say. It's Windows Vista time.
And going back to what Luke was saying about the WoW starts now, as in, wow, my machine really is that crap. It used to be pretty good before, but now it's just a basic office machine.
I like to quote Chris Perillo on that. They say the WoW starts now, but it's less like WoW, more like whoa.
Yeah, whoa. Actually, it's more like, whoa! Boom,
Oh
boom.
yeah.
Crash Bandicoot. Whoa!
Yeah, with me it was, wow. A few months ago, getting a new system with a whole 1 gigabyte of memory would have been the best thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is the thing. I mean, a lot of people complained about Vista because it was, the system requirements were extremely beefy. You needed a mid to high end system just to run it.
Yeah.
Basic Windows XP system would actually still be able to do some other stuff, but a basic Vista system literally could just about run Vista. It was literally just... What they did is they turned a mid-range machine into a very, very, very basic word processing email machine.
Pretty much.
If that much.
Yeah. I mean, you really couldn't browse the web with it, because it'd just trip over itself, especially with Web 2.0.
That's why I say nowadays, if you had to choose between Windows Vista or Windows 7, just go with 7.
Yeah, the only reason I went with Vista on this one is because it had the product key on the back.
Oh.
Otherwise, I would have definitely went with 7, because 7 is actually the superior operating system, so it is.
No, Linux is.
Linux is clearly a superior operating system. We're making Jay real happy here, I can tell.
Sometimes I wonder about... Quite often, lying awake at night wondering about the point of life. Yeah, Linux does have its uses. I do like Linux Mint, especially with the Cinnamon, because Mate...
It's not perfect by any means.
Yeah. It's gotten easier to use, but drivers have actually become harder to install. In some ways, yeah. I mean, before it's like, it was a given that you pretty much find your driver. Now it's pretty much a given that you're not getting online.
Or you just have to have an Ethernet cable plugged in. We don't have a chipset that's friendly with Linux.
Yeah. Talking of chipset, fish and chips, yeah.
Food.
I think the best thing to have with Linux is probably an Intel chipset. Just get everything completely Intel. If you've got an old Centrino 2 Duo machine or something, then you'll be fine with it. Like my ThinkPad R60 R50. No, it's an R60 one that I've got. Keep getting mixed up. Thanks, Jack. Brilliant. R51. I'm so used to like IBM ThinkPad R51. But yeah, my R60 one works absolutely beautifully with Linux Mint. My D630 works fine with it, except it doesn't actually support the wireless in it. So I'd have to actually get an Intel version.
Well, what you could do is just plug it into Ethernet and then install the driver for the driver manager.
I suppose I could actually. That would.
I have to do that with some laptops. It's kind of annoying, but
Yeah.
once it's in there, it's in there.
Aye. But with that said, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please feel free to subscribe, to follow us on Facebook, and to browse my website. The URLs will follow. But in the meantime, thank you for watching this video, and I hope you'll all join me for my next one.